topic, right?
Yeah.
What's it? What's the topic?
Upper limb.
Yeah?
Blood supply of the heart.
Blood supply of the heart,
Last.
upper and lower limbs, right?
Lower limbs.
Blood supply both upper limb, lower limb, and as well as the heart. So let's start with the heart. So yesterday you had a lecture. So what are the arteries?
Coronary
Coronary arteries. Why they are called as coronary arteries?
Supply.
Coronary circumflex. Because pass in coronary
From
circumflex.
circumflex.
What is the name meaning coronary?
Is Taj.
Yeah?
Like a crown.
Yeah, like a crown. So crown over by the heart. So as it looks like, as if the heart is the king, and then these arteries are like crown. Okay, so that's why they are called as the coronary vessels. So what coronary vessels will supply the heart?
Right and left.
The right coronary artery and then the left coronary artery. So right coronary artery arises from. So this is what is the right coronary artery.
For the anterior,
Anterior.
coronary sinus.
Very good. Anterior coronary sinus are also called as anterior aortic sinus. Okay. Whereas left coronary arises from
And left posterior.
left posterior aortic sinus or the coronary sinus. Very good. So those are the marginal branch of the right coronary artery. Whereas rest of the artery runs along the posterior right coronary sulcus. Okay, and then continues down as posterior interventricular or PDA. Okay, so whereas the left one arises from the left posterior aortic sinus immediately after its origin. So what are the other branches of the right coronary which are not shown here? You can see some of these atrial branches. See this? Red?
The interventricular.
That is the atrial branches, and one will be there which is a smaller one which is not present here. So that is the SA nodal branch which supplies the SA node. So they are the branches of the right coronary artery. What are they? SA nodal branch, infundibular branch, marginal branch, and then PDA. That is posterior descending artery or posterior interventricular artery. So left coronary artery arises from the left posterior aortic sinus. Immediately after its origin, it gives a big branch. That is the, what is this? Anterior descending artery. See this big one. Okay. Anterior descending artery. Yeah. In the anterior interventricular group. Anterior interventricular. This is what is the anterior interventricular group. Okay.
From the left.
Left coronary artery. Okay. The rest of the artery continuation, this is called as circumflex. This is called as circumflex artery, which gives a branch. So that is a marginal branch and even the diagonal branch. Marginal branch and then the diagonal branches, which will be supplying your mainly the left ventricle. Left ventricle. Am I clear? This is about the two arteries which are supplying the heart. Whereas veins, as I said, which is the big vein which drains the heart, is the coronary sinus. Here, this is the coronary sinus. This is the coronary sinus present in the left posterior coronary sulcus. Coronary sulcus. Which are the big tributaries of the coronary sinus?
Coronary sinus.
Veins which drain into this.
Coronary sinus.
Middle cardiac, great cardiac, and small cardiac veins. Okay. So great cardiac, the middle cardiac, and this side actually is a small cardiac vein which is not much clear here. You will find. Okay, it's not here. Okay, small cardiac vein will be this side along the right coronary arteries. Okay, the middle and then the great cardiac vein. Great cardiac vein along the posterior descending artery, middle cardiac vein along the anterior descending artery. Okay. So this is a big vein which drains into the right atrium. That is the coronary sinus. The other veins which drain the heart are 3 to 4 anterior cardiac veins which directly open into the right atrium, and Thevesian veins. What are Thevesian veins? Yeah, vena cavae minimis. Vena cavae, very small veins which you cannot see. So they will be opening directly into the right atrium. So this is about the venous drainage and arterial supply of the heart in brief. Okay. So what is right coronary dominant and left coronary dominant?
We come from the one.
Which artery?
BDA.
PDA, very good. PDA, if it is from right coronary, which is there in many of the population, that is 60% of the population will have PDA from right coronary. That is right dominance. Okay, right coronary dominant peoples. Whereas if it is arise from left coronary artery, we call them as left coronary dominance. And if they are from both the vessels, then we call it as co-dominant, or also called as balanced type. Okay, so that's about the what is the peculiarity of coronary circulation?
What?
Peculiarities of coronary circulation compared to other circulations.
Take from diastolic.
Very important point I said. All the vessels in the body, they receive blood
From
during
systolic.
systole, whereas coronary vessels receive blood in
Dystolic.
diastole. Diastole, not systole. Okay, they receive blood during diastole. Okay, even though there are anastomosis, they are not functional anastomosis. They are anatomical anastomosis. Yes, these are a few points you should keep in mind. So that's all about the heart. So let's start with the upper limb. So you all know, so while explaining the vessels of the thorax, I said you about the subclavian artery, right? So which is a branch on right side how it arises and left side how it arises.
From the arch of aorta, left.
Right side from the right side.
Left side, very good. Left side directly from arch of aorta, whereas right side brachiocephalic trunk. Very good. So right side brachiocephalic trunk comes, which divides into right common carotid and right subclavian, whereas left side common carotid and left subclavian directly from the arch of aorta. Yeah, arch of aorta. Okay. So subclavian, after its origin, what is the main extension from the origin till to the outer border of the first rib? Outer border of the first rib, it is subclavian, and from the outer border of the first rib till the lower border of the teres major. So this is what is the teres major muscle. What is this? Teres major muscle. From the first rib, here actually first rib is not there. Okay, from the first rib, okay, from the first rib, here will be the first rib. From the first rib till to the lower border of the teres major. So you can see this artery. See this? This is what is the axillary artery. What is this one? Okay, axillary artery. What is axillary artery? It is same continuation of subclavian artery. The same artery, we name it different depending on the area which is present. Subclavian from its origin till to the outer border of the first rib, that is in the root of the neck area. Okay, it is called as subclavian. Same continues down in the axilla. It is called as axillary artery. Same artery continues in the arm. It is called as brachial artery. Same one single vessel, we are giving different name. First it is called as subclavian, then axillary. Not branches. It is the same artery. Only one artery. Okay, like this. So only one artery. Okay. Here we call it as subclavian. Here we call it as axillary, and here we call it as brachial.
In the place.
Where it is present. In the root of the neck, it is called as subclavian. When it enters the axilla, it is called as axillary. So that is, I am telling you the points where exactly from the origin till to the outer border of the first rib. As the subclavian vessels, they lie on the first rib. If you read the anatomy of the first rib, you have a subclavian groove on the first rib. If this is the first rib, the vessels will be lying on this. Forms a groove on the first rib. That is called a subclavian groove. Okay, from the origin till the outer border of the first rib, it is the subclavian. From here, this point till what point? Till what point? Teres major. The lower border of the teres major. This is what? Lower border of the teres major muscle. Up to here. Okay, it is called as axillary. When then it enters the arm, it is called as
Brachial.
Am I clear? Yes. Okay, yes. So subclavian artery from the outer, we are not interested in subclavian because I explained it in thoracic region. Okay. So now the axillary artery. Axillary artery is again divided into three parts, similar to your subclavian artery. Our subclavian is also divided into three parts by which muscle?
Teres major.
No. لا.
Some scaleneus. Which scaleneus? Scalenus anterior muscle divided into three parts. Origin to the border, first part behind the muscle, second part from there to outer part of the first rib, third part. Similarly, axillary artery is also divided by the pectoralis minor muscle. What muscle? Pectoralis minor muscle into three parts. From the outer part of the first rib to the external border of the pectoralis major, first part. Behind the muscle, second part. And later border of the pectoralis minor, that is the lateral border of the pectoralis minor till to the teres major muscle, we call it as the third part. What is that? Third part of the axillary artery. So first part 1 branch, second part 2 branch, third part 3 branch. Very easy to remember. The branches of axillary artery. First part 1 branch, second part 2 branch, third part 3 branches. So what are those branches? First part is not here. Okay, first part is not here. So that is called as a superior thoracic artery. What is that called as? Superior thoracic artery that will supply the pectoral region. So majorly your pectoralis minor and pectoralis major muscles. Okay, here, which is not here present. Second part, it gives 2 branches. One is thoracoacromial artery. What is that called as? Thoracoacromial artery, which divides into different branches like acromial branches, delta E, which you can see it here. Yeah. Can you see this?
Ouais.
You have a forceps?
Yes.
Forceps? Yeah, good. So this is what is that? Axillary artery. What I am holding. Axillary artery. So this is what is your thoracoacromial artery. What is this? Thoracoacromial artery, which comes out from the clavipectoral fascia and divides into many branches like acromial branch, deltoid branch, okay, and the pectoral branch. The different branches, this one.
Sure, yeah.
This is the thoracoacromial artery given off from the second part of the axillary artery. The other branch is lateral thoracic, which is again not clear here. Can you see that? Lateral thoracic, which again runs along the lateral border of the pectoralis minor. In the females, it will be even supplying the breast area, breast and as well as the pectoral region. Okay, that is the lateral thoracic. These are the 2 branches from second part. One is the thoracoacromial, then the lateral thoracic. First part, superior thoracic. Then third part. You will have these all slides in the lecture. You have the lecture of again blood supply of upper and lower. I didn't bring the that is slides because it will be taken again in the lecture. So we will get the slides in the lecture. Okay. Then third part, you have 3 branches. 3 branches. One bigger branch. So which is bigger compared to all branches of the axillary artery. So that is a very big branch. This one. This is the subscapular artery. What is that? Subscapular. You can see it very clearly here. Very big branch compared to all other arteries. So which is the big branch of axillary artery? Subscapular. This is the subscapular.
Where is subscapular muscle?
This is the subscapularis muscle. Okay. So this is the subscapular artery given off from the third part of the axillary artery. So this is subscapular, which in turn gives an important branch. This is called as circumflex scapular artery. Can you see this? This one. Circumflex scapular artery, which winds around the scapula and comes here. See this? This is the circumflex scapular artery, which is again a big branch from. Yeah, this is this quadrangular space. So you might have learnt about the spaces around the scapula and even the anastomosis around the scapular region. So there is anastomosis around the scapula between the first part of the subclavian and the third part of the axillary artery. Are you following? So around the scapula there is anastomosis between branches of the first part of the subclavian and the third part of the axillary artery. So if there is any block in the first part, second part of the axillary artery or a block in the subclavian artery, then there is again different collateral route. So this, if you consider this as this up to here subclavian and this as axillary artery, okay. So this first part of the axillary, like that is the thyrocervical trunk, transverse cervical artery, okay. That comes and then anastomosis with a branch from third part of axillary. So if there is any block here, so what happens? Blood will flow from these vessels and then continue down to the upper limb. Clear? That is the importance of anastomosis around the scapula. Anastomose is around the scapula. It is between the first part of the subclavian and the third part of the axillary artery. So with the very important branch here you can see, which is winding around the scapula. This is circumflex scapular artery. Stand up and see. You can't see it. So this is the circumflex scapular artery, okay, which is given up from this. This is what is the subscapular artery from the third part of axillary artery, and this is the circumflex branch which is winding. This is the border. Which border? The medial border of the scapula, okay, which winds winding round and then coming here, circumflex scapular, okay. So, and other than that, what are the other branches? Other two branches. Third part I said 3 branches. One is subscapular. Other 2 are anterior and posterior. Yeah, circumflex humeral arteries, which winds round the surgical neck of the humerus. Humerus is like this. One from the anterior side and one from the posterior side. Anterior and posterior circumflex humeral artery. So these are the 3 branches from, you can see it here. So this is the posterior circumflex. Posterior circumflex humeral artery. Okay? Which is even supplying your deltoid. This is deltoid muscle. Okay? This is the humerus which is winding round posteriorly, and similarly anterior side. See this. So these are the small vessels which is actually cut here. So these are the anterior circumflex, which both.
Where is this, doctor?
This is the posterior circumflex. You can see this red.
Yeah.
Okay. Anterior side, it's because it's very hardened. That is the problem. See here, these branches. See this? Which is dividing into multiple branches. This. Okay.
Yeah.
So these are anterior circumflex. One from the anterior and one from the posterior. They divide and then anastomose around the surgical neck. They run along with your axillary nerve. Okay. This is what is the axillary nerve, which even supplies your deltoid muscle. Okay. So that is the axillary artery. Axillary artery. So how it is divided?
3
parts. By how? Which muscle?
By the pectoralis
Pectoralis
Major.
minor muscle. Pectoralis minor, not major. Pectoralis minor. If the axillary artery is like this, pectoralis minor is like this. Okay. From the outer border of the first rib till to the medial border of the pectoralis major is the first part. Behind the muscle is the second part, and the lateral part of the muscle till to the teres major is the third part. First part 1 branch, superior thoracic. Second part 2 branch. What are they? Thoracoacromial and lateral thoracic. Third part 3 branches. Subscapular, which gives one more important branch, that is the circumflex scapula. Okay, which is a branch from subscapular. Okay, and then anterior and posterior circumflex. So subscapular, anterior and posterior circumflex humeral arteries. These are the 3 branches from third part. Am I clear about the axillary? Yes. Next. So from the lower part of the teres major, the artery runs along the medial surface of the arm. Medial surface of the arm. See this. This is what is the artery.
How can I differentiate
What?
between artery and other cord?
So actually in this specimen it's little difficult because they are little colored, you can make out.
Yes.
In the cadaver, because it is because of the plastinating model. This they have hardened it by using certain plastinating techniques. Okay, so that's why it is difficult. Whereas if you look in the cadaver, if you palpate, it's like a tube. It's like a tube. You can feel the lumen. If the catheter is there, if you roll it in your hand between the 2 fingers, you will feel the lumen inside. Lumen inside. Whereas the nerve will be hard. It's like a thread. Whereas artery will be like a tube. You will find the lumen. How will you differentiate artery and vein?
Elastic.
Not elastic.
Artery is
Thick wall. Yes. Thick wall. And if the artery is cut, the lumen you can see very clearly. Patent lumen we say. Whereas vein, the lumen will be collapsed because the wall is thin. If you understand the histology of artery and vein, okay, tunica media is very thick in case of artery because of the muscle fibers. Okay, whereas lumen will be collapsed in case of veins and the wall is thin. That's how you differentiate artery and a vein. So here you can differentiate clearly. You can see it here. It's like a tube, and even you can see the branches. Okay, this is the artery. This is what that? Brachial artery. Brachial. artery. So this is what is the brachial artery, which runs along the medial surface of the arm, medial surface of the arm, and it is just below the deep fascia. It's not deep. Very, very important clinically. So brachial artery here in the arm, it's not deep. It is just below the deep fascia. So how it is important clinically?
Pulse.
Not pulse. What do you do with the arm? Recording the blood pressure. Why you choose brachial artery? Why not other?
It's near the superficial, maybe.
Yeah?
It's near the
No. Because it is more superficial.
Yes.
If it is deep, then it becomes very. Why you inflate the bag?
To close the artery.
Yeah, to occlude the artery. Okay. So if artery is deep, even though if you inflate the bag, it will not obstruct the artery.
Yes.
As it is more superficial, that is just below the deep fascia. When you inflate the bag, it will obstruct the artery. So that's why the brachial artery is chosen to record the blood pressure. That's why it is the course just below the deep fascia is very important. Okay. So this is the brachial artery. Brachial artery. So one important relation here is the crossing of the nerve. See here.
Median nerve.
Median nerve. Median nerve crosses in front of the brachial artery. See this? Okay. So which nerve crosses the brachial artery? Median nerve crosses the brachial artery. Yes. So now coming to the branches of the brachial artery. So in the arm, it gives a very, very important branch. Okay. So that is called as? Eh? No, they are in the elbow. In the arm, I am telling.
3 branch. No.
What is this artery which runs along with the radial nerve in the spiral groove? Profunda brachii artery. What is that? Profunda brachii artery. You can compare. You remember what I am saying now? You will compare this same structure with the lower limb also. Brachial with the femoral, like that. Okay. So brachial artery, it gives a very important branch in the upper part, that is called the profunda brachii artery. So just let me try whether you find this or not. Because they are all hard. If I move little, the vessels are getting cut.
Here. What's here?
Yeah? No, there is nerve. So, profunda brachii artery. No. Along with this nerve, there will be artery which is given off from the brachial artery. That is called as profunda brachii artery, which supplies your posterior compartment of the arm. Your posterior compartment of the arm is supplied by a big branch from the brachial, that is called as the profunda brachii artery. Not here. Maybe some other models will get it. Okay. So what is the first branch? It is the profunda brachii artery. It even gives some of the branches which are all muscular branches. See this? Muscular branches which will be supplying the anterior compartment muscles. Anterior compartment muscles of the arm. Okay. Along with that, it gives even branches. They are called as, on the medial side, it gives the branches called as ulnar collateral arteries. What they are called as? Ulnar collaterals. One superior and one inferior. Okay. And laterally, radial collateral. Radial collateral. Okay. They will come down and then make anastomosis around the joint. Around the elbow joint. So anywhere, all the joints in the body, around the joints, you have anastomosis. Why?
Because if you close
Yeah. Very good. So, and to keep the distal part of the limb with the blood supply in different positions of the joint. Okay. So that the distal part of the limb is not hampered of its blood supply. Okay. Yes. So, they are medial side, ulnar collateral arteries, lateral side, radial collateral arteries. So now, after radial artery coming down, comes in front of the elbow in the cubital fossa, and here also again just below the bicipital aponeurosis. just below the bicipital aponeurosis. Okay, skin, bicipital aponeurosis, then you have the brachial artery. So it is again here also very superficial.
Where bicipital aponeurosis here?
Here, so this is what is the biceps muscle. Okay, so this biceps aponeurosis, they have cut it. So this is the tendon. Okay, it will go like this. Okay, just below this here, this is what is the brachial artery. Bicipital aponeurosis, just below this bicipital aponeurosis is the brachial artery. So this is the aponeurosis and this is the tendon. Okay, bicipital aponeurosis just below that, in front of which you have a vein. And that is the, which vein? Which you use to draw the blood.
Axillary vein.
Axillary vein here in the axilla.
Cubital vein.
Yeah, which cubital? Median cubital vein. Median cubital vein. You don't know, you had already done the clinical skills. Clinical skills in the first year. Intravenous injections, intramuscular injections, you have done them, right?
Yes.
So usually we use this median cubital vein, which is in front of the aponeurosis, which is fixed by the aponeurosis. So that's why we choose that vein. Okay. So just below the aponeurosis, you find the brachial artery. Brachial artery. So as it is more superficial, again, it is very easy to auscultate. You keep the stethoscope here, right?
Yes.
To auscultate the pulsation of the brachial artery. Okay, that is the one clinical significance, as it lies more superficial, just below the aponeurosis.
Blood pressure, right?
Yeah,
You want to measure
blood pressure. Yes. So that is the brachial artery. After coming down at the level of your neck of the radius, it divides into two branches. What are the two important branches of the brachial? Radial and ulnar. Where does it divide? At the level of the neck of the radius. At the level of the neck of the radius. So it divides into two branches, radial artery and then ulnar artery. So this is what the one branch. This is the, what is this branch?
Radial.
Radial, thumb side.
Yes.
Okay, radial, and the little finger side is the ulnar artery. This is what is the ulnar artery and this is the radial artery. So radial artery runs along the lateral side of the forearm, medial ulnar artery runs along the medial side of the forearm. Okay, so radial artery is again subfacial, just below the skin, and then upper part it is related to your brachioradialis muscle. Okay, so later it is just below the skin and even between the tendons of these muscles. Okay, and then it winds round before actually it goes to the dorsal side, the radial artery. It goes on the dorsal side and then pierces the first two dorsal interosseous, okay, and then supplies along mainly along the dorsum of the hand. Before it is going, it lies directly over the bone here, the artery. So where you feel the pulsation.
But there is dividing here.
I say I will come to that. So before winding round, it winds round, runs in the snuff box and then goes to the dorsal and then pierces there and then supplies mainly the dorsum of the hand. So before winding round, it gives one branch which will go to the palmar side, palm of the hand, and complete the superficial palmar arch. Can you see this? Arched.
Yes.
Okay, it is mainly by the ulnar artery. Ulnar artery is little deep compared to the radial artery. Okay, so ulnar artery runs down, passes the carpal tunnel, just in front of the carpal tunnel along with the ulnar nerve, and then makes an arch, which is completed by a branch from radial artery. That is called a superficial palmar branch. What is that branch? Superficial palmar branch. So which even this radial artery even gives a branch to the arteria pollicis, that is the pollex, we call it as the thumb, which supplies both sides of the thumb, and arterial indicis, which supplies the your radial side of the index finger, whereas the rest of the branches are from this arch. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay, this is the superficial palmar arch. Superficial palmar arch is by ulnar artery, completed by superficial palmar arch of the Radial artery. Radial artery. Whereas radial artery, after piercing here, it forms again an arch on the dorsum. That is called as the deep palmar arch. Deep palmar arch. That is mainly by radial artery. Completed by deep branch of ulnar. So let me see, check it whether we have the So this is the superficial branch. This you can see this. So this is the ulnar artery. So here it giving one more branch. This is the deep branch, which goes deep and then forms your deep palmar arch. See this? You can see one more arch here down. See that?
Yes.
This is the deep palmar arch. Deep palmar arch, and this is the superficial palmar arch. Deep palmar arch mainly by the radial artery, completed by the deep branch of ulnar. Superficial palmar arch mainly by the superficial branch of the ulnar artery, completed by superficial branch of the radial artery. Am I clear? Yes. Two arches in the hand. Superficial palmar arch by ulnar, completed by radial. Deep palmar arch by radial, completed by deep branch of ulnar artery. So from this arch you find branches. See there? So they are called as metacarpal branches because you have metacarpals here.
Yes.
Okay? Common or proper metacarpal branches. What they are called as? Proper metacarpal branches. And these metacarpal branches at the base of the each phalanx divide into proper digital branches. Can you see it here? See here. This is the metacarpal artery dividing into digital branches.
Yes.
Okay, similarly here. See here. Okay, the metacarpal arteries divide into digital branches which will be supplying the adjacent sides of the fingers. So this is the story about the radial and ulnar artery in the hand. Whereas here in the forearm, so the blood supply to the forearm. Wait. Blood supply. These mainly the radial and ulnar arteries, they will be supplying mainly the hand. Whereas blood supply to the forearm is by another artery which is given off from the ulnar artery. Can you see this? This is the ulnar, right? Can you see this artery? See this? This is the ulnar. Okay? This is the ulnar.
Yes.
Okay? It is giving an artery here. See this? Which is running here.
Yes.
See this? Deep. Just in front of the interosseous membrane. It gives a branch. Ulnar artery is bigger compared to the radial artery because it gives a big branch that is called as common interosseous artery. What is that called as? Common interosseous artery, which in turn divides into two branches. Anterior interosseous and posterior interosseous. See this? Oh, it's already before only it is broken. Okay. See this? The red structure, this one. This is the anterior interosseous artery. Whatever the shining thing can you see here? This is what is the interosseous membrane. So you have two bones like this, radius and ulnar.
Yes.
Between them there is a membrane that is called as interosseous membrane. Common interosseous artery is given like this, which divides into two branches. Anterior interosseous, posterior interosseous. This is the interosseous membrane between the two bones.
Yes.
One will run in front of the membrane and one will run behind the membrane. So anterior is called as anterior interosseous artery. Posterior is called as posterior interosseous artery from common interosseous, which is from ulnar. Am I clear? So anterior interosseous will supply the anterior compartment of the forearm, and posterior interosseous artery will supply the posterior compartment of the forearm. Okay? Whereas mainly this radial and ulnar, they will supply the hand. The hand. Here? So this is about the blood supply. What is the artery of the front of the arm?
Axillary artery.
Brachial artery. Brachial artery. Whereas the back of the arm? Profunda brachii artery. Remember like this according to the compartment. What is the artery of the anterior compartment of the forearm? Anterior interosseous artery. Posterior interosseous artery. Here in the hand, radial and ulnar. Mainly the superficial palmar arch, ulnar, deep palmar arch, radial. Am I clear?
Yes.
Okay. This is about the arterial supply of the upper limb. Arterial supply of the upper limb. You have anastomosis around the elbow and as well as at the wrist joint. Okay. So here, as I said, in the brachial artery, it gives collateral branches. Medial side, ulnar collateral. Radial side, radial collateral. Here this radial and ulnar collateral artery, they give reverse branches. They run upwards. So they are called as collateral is running together down. What is the reverse course? What is the word used? Recurrent. We call it as recurrent branches. Ulnar recurrent arteries and then radial recurrent arteries and intraosseous recurrent arteries. These recurrent arteries run from these three vessels: common intraosseous, ulnar and radial. They run upwards towards the elbow. These collateral branches, they run downwards from the brachial. They anastomose around the joint.
To anastomose.
Anastomose around the elbow joint. Am I clear?
Yes.
Whereas around the wrist joint, these they are called as carpal branches. Ventral and dorsal the carpal branches. They will make anastomosis around the wrist joint. They are called the carpal branches. Okay? Yes. So this is about the arterial supply. Whereas venous drainage, veins actually not here. Okay? Venous drainage, you have an arch on the dorsum of the hand. Dorsal venous arch we say. What is that? Dorsal venous arch. Dorsal venous arch. From the medial end and from the lateral end, two veins begin. From the medial vein, you have the basilic vein running. Medial side of the forearm and then the arm. On the lateral side, radial side, you have the cephalic vein running. This side what? Cephalic. This side, basilic. So basilic vein here pierces. They are all superficial veins. I am talking about the superficial veins. Whereas deep veins, they run with the arteries anywhere in the body. Superficial veins, they run just below the skin. The deep veins,
With the artery.
they run with the arteries. That's why they are called as vena comitants. And how are they named? They named according to the artery. Radial artery veins running along with that, radial veins. Ulnar artery, ulnar veins. Brachial artery, brachial vein. Axillary artery, axillary vein. Subclavian artery, subclavian vein. Like that. Deep veins. Okay? So, medial side, basilic vein pierces the deep fascia in the middle of the arm and continues up as axillary vein. Continues up as axillary vein. Later, it is joined by all the deep veins. All the deep veins and the basilic vein join together to form axillary vein. How is the axillary vein formed? By the joining of basilic vein with the deep veins of the upper limb. Deep veins of the upper limb that forms axillary vein, which continues as subclavian. Later it is joined by the cephalic vein. Don't be in a confusion that basilic and cephalic will join to form axillary vein. Axillary vein is formed by basilic vein with the deep veins,
Yes.
like the brachial vein. Okay?
Okay.
So, a very important point here is in the cubital area, this cephalic vein and the basilic vein are joined by a vein which is called as median cubital vein in front of the elbow. Okay? And it is kept in position by the aponeurosis because it runs above the aponeurosis. Okay? So the fibers of the aponeurosis keep the vein in position. It will not move. So whereas if you try to puncture the other veins, they will try to move and there is chance of puncturing different veins. Okay? So here it is fixed. So when you put an syringe, it very easily you can draw the blood. Okay? Because it is fixed. So why median cubital vein is chosen to draw the blood sample? Because it is fixed by bicipital aponeurosis. Very good. So that's the one more clinical importance of your median cubital vein. So this is about the venous drainage of the upper limb. Am I clear?
Yes.
This is about the upper limb. Then come to the lower limb. So lower limb, just we can compare. Here nothing much to show because the arteries are not clear. So there you had subclavian, brachial, radial, ulnar and common intraosseous. Am I right? Yes. So here axillary artery is same as external iliac artery. What is that? External iliac artery. External iliac artery, which continues behind the inguinal ligament. It's not here. This is the problem. So this, yeah. So I want to show in the cadaver. This is what is the femoral artery. What is the femoral artery? It is the continuation of External iliac artery. External iliac artery continues. Here will be the inguinal ligament. Okay. Behind the inguinal ligament continues down as the femoral artery. Runs for a shorter course in this triangle. What is this triangle? Femoral triangle. Runs in the femoral triangle. Femoral triangle.
Femoral canal. There's a canal.
Femoral canal is different. That is for the vein, not for the artery. Only vein will be there. So this is in the femoral triangle. This is the femoral artery. Femoral artery. So then continues down. Okay. Like your, what is the femoral artery is compared with brachial artery. Brachial artery. So here only one difference is the same artery, the femoral artery, after running for a distance in the subsartorial canal, it goes out go to the posterior compartment as the popliteal artery. Whereas the brachial artery itself divides here into in front of the elbow. It will not go posterior. Here it divides into radial and ulnar. Whereas here the femoral artery, after running in the anterior compartment, here I will show it, goes to the posterior compartment in the popliteal fossa as popliteal artery. Femoral artery continues as popliteal artery. Okay. So femoral artery here in the femoral triangle gives different branches. So list down just branches. It gives branches which are called as superficial epigastric. We will learn it again in the lecture. So just for theory purpose I am telling you, because I don't have those branches to show you. Okay, superficial epigastric, which will run in the anterior abdominal wall. Epigastric towards the umbilicus, supply the anterior abdominal wall. Okay, and then superficial external pudendal, which will go to the genitalis, supplying the scrotum and all, labia major in case of females. Okay, and deep external pudendal, that also supplies the perineal area. What are the branches? Superficial epigastric, superficial external pudendal, deep external pudendal, and superficial iliac. What is that? Superficial iliac, or you can say the circumflex iliac. Superficial circumflex iliac. These are the branches from femoral artery. What are they? I repeat. Yeah.
Superficial
Epigastric, two pudendal. One is superficial and one deep. External pudendal. Okay. Because there are internal pudendal which are from internal iliac. Okay. So deep external pudendal, superficial external pudendal, superficial circumflex iliac, superficial epigastric. These are the branches from femoral artery. It gives one more very big branch similar to your profunda brachii here in the arm. Okay, it gives a branch that is called as profunda femoris.
Supplies
Posterior compartment as well as the medial compartment of the thigh, along with the obturator artery. So medial compartment. So in the thigh, how many compartments you have? Three compartments. So in the front of thigh, medial side of thigh, back of thigh, right? So front of thigh mainly by femoral artery branches. Okay. Medial compartment of the thigh by profunda femoris as well as obturator artery, which comes through your obturator foramen from the internal iliac, not with the femoral. Okay. So medial compartment by profunda femoris and its branches as well as obturator artery. Back of thigh by profunda femoris artery branches, and even some of the gluteal arteries which are there, which are again from internal iliac, and some branches from external iliac also. Okay, gluteal branches and the profunda femoris. So profunda femoris is very important because it supplies the posterior compartment as well as the medial compartment. Yes, I will show it now here. So this is what is this muscle? Sartorius. So after exiting from the femoral canal, it runs below the sartorius. That is called as subsartorial canal, or also called as Hunter's canal. What is called as Hunter's canal, because it lies over the bone here. Lies over the bone, this femoral artery. Okay, so that's why a person called, especially in the First World War or Second World War, I don't remember it exactly, a surgeon called as John Hunter. Okay, so in the wars, usually the soldiers come to him with multiple wounds and the gangrenes of the limbs, especially the leg area, because of the bomb blast and all. Okay, then he has to cut the limb to save the life of the soldier. So to cut the limb, you have to first arrest the bleeding. If you just cut the leg like that, you will die because of the bleeding. So he used to use a thread or a tube to tie the femoral artery in that area. So that because it is lying over the bone in the Hunter's canal. Okay. So when you tie a knot it will perfectly occlude the femoral artery and then cut the limb, so that there won't be much bleeding. So that he was using this area to tourniquet the femoral artery. That's why on his name this canal is called as Hunter's canal. Okay, so this is the femoral artery continuation. This is the branch which is profunda femoris. So can you so it gives a big branch here. So one of the branch here, it gives one down, and from that artery only this is coming. Here this artery, which is one will be going deep. Okay, so that is called as profunda femoris artery. So you might be knowing that adductor magnus insertion. How is that? It shows multiple holes, 5 holes. So within those holes you will have the perforating branches of the profunda femoris artery running and then supplying both the medial compartment as well as the posterior compartment. So profunda femoris artery again gives 2 circumflex branches, medial circumflex iliac and one more lateral circumflex iliac. Circumflex iliac branches, medial and lateral. They are from profunda femoris artery. One you can see it here. This is the medial circumflex. This is from profunda femoris. Profunda femoris, which goes deep. Okay, profunda femoris artery, which will go to the posterior compartment. Okay, so these are the branches of the femoral artery in the thigh. What are they? Superficial epigastric, superficial circumflex iliac, superficial external pudendal, deep external pudendal, and one big branch is profunda femoris. Yeah, this one.
Yes, they're going up.
So this is the medial circumflex branch.
Going
Yeah, it will give again one ascending branch and one transverse branch.
ascending. That one is ascending.
Ascending branch of the medial circumflex, which is from profunda femori. Profunda femori. Okay. So other than that, it will give, when it is running in the Hunter's canal, it gives multiple muscular branches which supply the anterior compartment of the thighs. So after it running through the Hunter's canal, it passes through the last hole in the adductor magnus and then comes to, this is the last hole. So similarly you have 4 holes. This is the adductor magnus muscle. So they are perforated by the profunda femoris branches. Okay. So this one is the last hole through which it coming out as the popliteal artery. What is this? Popliteal artery. That is there here. Popliteal. Can you see this? See this? It's very clear. I'm holding.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
So that is the popliteal artery. You can see just upward because this is all hard. You can see it is coming out from the muscle. See this? The hole. See there? Here. Where my forceps I am pointing. It is coming out from there.
Yes.
Okay? Continuing down as the popliteal artery. Popliteal artery in the popliteal fossa. Above the popliteal artery is your popliteal vein. This is what is the popliteal vein.
Yeah.
This is the popliteal vein. Deep will be the popliteal artery. This is the vein and this is the artery. So you can see this is the popliteal vein. This is the popliteal artery. So after running behind the neck, behind the knee, it divides into 2 branches. What are they? Anterior and posterior tibial. Where is the leg? Yeah, it gives 2 branches. Yeah. See here? This is the popliteal running down tibial artery. So anterior tibial artery supplies the front of the leg and continues in the foot as dorsalis pedis artery. Continuation of the anterior tibial, here it is not shown, okay? It continues down as dorsalis pedis artery.
It's superficial, right?
Yeah, it is superficial. It pierces here and then goes deep. Okay? It is again also felt.
Yes, you
The
can,
pulsation, yeah. The peripheral artery, yeah.
and
Over the
from,
navicular bone here.
behind, you can,
Yeah.
There is another.
That is the peripheral arterial diseases. We will be feeling the dorsalis pedis artery. Now, what is dorsalis pedis artery? It is the continuation of Anterior tibial. So posterior tibial, this is what is the posterior tibial.
It goes two branch.
It gives one more branch which is called as peroneal artery. So in the leg you have three compartments. Am I right? What are this? Posterior compartment, lateral compartment, anterior compartment. So lateral is also called as peroneal compartment because they have peroneal muscles. Peroneus longus and brevis. So peroneal compartment is supplied by peroneal artery which is branched from posterior tibial. Posterior tibial supplies all the posterior compartment muscles and continues in the sole of the foot as where it behind the your flexor retinaculum goes down and then divides into two branches, medial and lateral plantar arteries. Plantar, P-L-A-N-T-R, plantar. So what is the medial and lateral and plantar arteries are branches from same posterior tibial. How does the posterior tibial end? Dividing into medial and lateral plantar arteries which supply the foot.
It will go like this.
Yeah. So behind sole, one will be on the lateral side and one will be on the medial side. Medial side and then lateral side. That's why they are called as medial plantar artery and then lateral plantar artery. Clear?
Because of the muscle.
Plantar because they are running on the plantar surface. Here, sole. Okay? Whereas dorsal is mainly by your dorsalis pedis. So they form like lateral, it forms an arcuate artery. Okay, which supplies same. Here we call it as metacarpal artery dividing into digital arteries. So here we call it as metatarsal arteries dividing into digital arteries. Okay. So these are the branches which supply the lower limb. First I repeat in brief. Femoral artery, different branches in the thigh. Okay, 4 superficial branches. Superficial circumflex iliac, superficial epigastric, superficial external pudendal and one deep external pudendal. And one bigger branch that is the profunda femoris artery which supplies medial as well as posterior compartment. Whereas femoral artery continues in the Hunter's canal, gives many muscular branches which supply the anterior compartment muscles of the thigh. Okay. So medial compartment is again supplemented by obturator artery from internal iliac. Okay. So femoral artery after running in the Hunter's canal, it passes through the last hole in the adductor magnus and goes to the popliteal fossa as popliteal artery, which runs behind the knee and then divides into two branches. One the anterior tibial and one is the posterior tibial. Anterior tibial supplies the anterior compartment of the leg and continues over the dorsum of the foot as dorsalis pedis artery. Whereas posterior tibial artery runs in the posterior compartment of the leg, supplying all the muscles of the posterior compartment muscles and runs behind your flexor retinaculum, goes to the sole of the foot and divides into medial and lateral plantar arteries. So in the posterior compartment of the leg, it gives an important branch that is called the peroneal artery which supplies the peroneal compartment of the leg. Am I clear?
Yes.
So this is about the arterial supply. Coming to the venous drainage, which is very, very important from the clinical point of view.
So venous vein.
So venous drainage of the lower limb. Okay? Why it is important? Because when you are standing, the blood has to run against the gravity.
Yes.
Okay? So you have again, similar to your upper limb, superficial veins and deep veins. Okay? So superficial veins are importantly two. What are they? Great saphenous vein. This is what is the great saphenous vein. Okay, maybe in ASPI they may tie this and they may ask you what is this vein. What is this? Great saphenous vein. It's the longest vein in the body. Great, that's why it is called as great. Because it is the longest vein in the body which runs from the foot till to the upper part of the thigh. Okay? Longest vein in the body. That's the great saphenous vein and the other one is the short saphenous vein. These are the two important superficial veins. And the deep veins, as I said, named
With the
along with the
artery.
arteries.
Yes.
Because they run along with the arteries, vena comitants. Like posterior tibial vein, anterior tibial vein, peroneal vein, popliteal vein, femoral vein. Okay?
Okay.
Yes. So superficial veins, that is the great saphenous vein. So just I will show it here. What is the time? Sorry, 2 o'clock. Okay. So saphenous vein. So why this venous drainage is important? Because of the fact that many of the persons, especially who are on a job of long standing, especially the traffic police and very laborers, hard workers. Okay. So they will have You might have seen some of the people suffering from varicosity of the veins.
Yes, yes.
Okay, that is called as varicose veins. Varicose veins. What is that called as? Varicose veins. Because as the superficial veins, they are made up of walls, and the blood from the superficial veins will drain into deep veins through the connecting veins. They are also called as perforators. What are perforating veins?
Perforate.
They are the veins which pass through the deep fascia and then drain into deep veins. The blood flow in them is only one way. What is that? Superficial to deep. They are again guarded by walls. All these veins, they are guarded by walls, allowing only one flow of blood from superficial to deep and from lower to upper side, never from down. So if there is any pathology or any defect in these walls, especially one wall which is present where the saphenous vein is opening into femoral vein. If this is the femoral vein, saphenous vein is draining here in the saphenous opening. There is a one wall which guards this opening, saphenofemoral wall. What is it called as? Saphenofemoral wall. So if there is defect in that wall, so as the deep veins, there is more pressure compared to superficial veins, because deep veins are surrounded by muscles. When these muscles are contracting, the pressure in the deep veins is more. Okay?
Okay.
The venous blood from the deep veins will go to superficial vein. If there is defect in these walls, as well as defect in the perforating veins. Perforating veins from superficial to deep, they are also valves, okay, which will allow blood flow only from superficial to deep. If there is any defect in these walls, in the perforating veins, blood will from deep to superficial, reverse way. So then all these veins, especially the superficial veins, are filled with blood. That's why they become very big, very cautious. Okay, that is called as varicosity. Varicosity. So that we will learn again much in your
Doctor, what is
lecture.
Kamenosby? What did that question may become? What's very
That is
vague.
what, where it begins.
Our name.
Oh, what is
It begins from the medial dorsal venous arch. Okay, runs just in front of your medial malleolus, runs upwards and just behind the knee and from medial side of the thigh and opens into the femoral vein in the saphenous opening. What is it called as? Saphenous opening. So they may ask you about the walls, what is the clinical condition affecting, and one more important as I was explaining in the lecture. So sometimes as it is very superficial, okay, very easily accessible vein, so this vein is used in the bypass graft, I said, CABG. Sometimes they will take some of the tributaries of the saphenous vein, then reverse it, and then bypass graft. They use as graft. And in case of example, burns, a patient suffering from severe burn, all his limbs are burnt. Okay, so then there is no vein to, because the burn patient, they will have a lot of dehydration. All the water is lost from the body. Okay, you have to give intravenous fluid. It is burnt. You cannot access the veins. Then they will do a procedure called as venesection. As it is very superficial, they will cut the skin, expose this saphenous vein, okay, and then pass the needle and then tie it like this, so that we will be passing the fluid through the saphenous vein. As it is very excellent. That procedure is called as venesection. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.